Hey Desiree, how are you today?
Hello. I'm doing very well. How are you?
Awesome, thank you, thank you. That was a little weird. Did was there a glitch on your end with the
No,
introduction? Oh,
no. It was fun on my side.
all right, cool. Well, we'll just act like that nothing happened on here over here on this end.
Nothing happened.
So welcome to Lending with Purpose. These are
Thank
conversations
you.
with clients and friends. We're actually teammates. Intros to our various forms of information and professionals like yourself, resources that we look for that we never knew existed or wanted to learn more about. So before we get started, I'll tell a quick story today. Should kind of tie into not kind of, but it will tie into excuse me what we're going to be discussing today. So last week I got an email from a borrower that we're working with, and she's like, "Well, we want to refinance, but let's hold off because we need to get our pool guy to come over and take a look at our pool." And so basically, based on uh, what he says, is going to determine which direction we go with uh, with this refinance. So she called me yesterday and we spoke a little bit. And she's like, on second thought, I think we're going to need to take out a lot more money than we originally thought, just because we totally underestimated the amount that it's going to cost for this pool. So I wanted to kind of tell you that quick story, and anybody out there that's listening, because right now home ownership, equity is at a very large clip. Like I was reading an article just a minute ago, and it says the Q4 2021 U.S. home equity and underwater report in February. Um, uh, that well, this was Q4 2021. Uh, what's today? Today's the third. Yeah, so today,
Today's the
February
third.
3rd, showed that 41.9% of mortgage residential properties in the United States were considered equity rich. So, we'll talk a little bit today about renovation loans and how it's beneficial, not just to purchase, but also to refinance, like my client is doing, to use the money to pay for their pool and other home updates that they're doing. But
Hmm.
welcome today. Glad to have you. Tell us who you are, what you do, and then we'll get into our conversation.
Great. Well, thanks for having me. As you can see, I am a Fortis Mortgage team member. I'm Desiree Regusci. I'm a loan officer here. I'm also our business development manager. And in this role with Fortis now, just almost at a year.
Yeah, almost a year. So,
Almost, yeah.
um, congratulations.
Longest year of your life, right?
Yes, the longest year of my life. The longest 10 minutes of my life too before before
Before
we
this
start.
started.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's good. Desiree is really intense. She's been awesome. She's gonna continue to be awesome. So we're excited about you. I will tell you in public, in front of the world, that you are a little bit hard on yourself, but you keep that going, and you're gonna crush it like we know you will. So thank you. Yeah, thank you. So
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
you dove into like renovation like kind of by accident. I think it was kind of like, hey, Desiree, I know this product decent. I'm a bit swamped right now. Can you take this client and run with it? And so you dove in, and since then you've had many opportunities to do some renovation loans. And I wanted to talk to you today because I really like your perspective on it. And um, before I started to kind of pepper you with a bunch of questions and such, can you tell us, like, what was it like when you first kind of dove into it, like, with the renovation?
Well, I think it's probably the same as most people when they think of remodeling or renovating their house. At first, you're like, "Oh, this is great," because you're only looking at what's at the end, right? But then
Yep.
as you start to dig back, it's like peeling the onion back, right? There's a lot of layers to this type of a mortgage. But I think at the end of the day, it's very rewarding, right? Nothing good comes easy. Um, so I think you're right. I did kind of fall into it, but as soon as I started looking into this program, I realized immediately how much opportunity there is for not only current home owners, but those out shopping for a home. And so I think this is a great time to talk about it. I have a lot of passion about the fact that this can be a great option for a lot of people out there. And so yeah, we could talk the specifics. What do you want to know?
Yeah, so let's talk specifics on like when you first got started. What's the So we're going to start from the beginning and kind of progress to where we are now because I consider you a subject matter expert. Like you've
Oh
learned
boy.
it. Yeah, you studied the guidelines. We've gone through a few of them since the first one that you did. Like, but what stood out to you immediately, like on this loan? Like, what would be like one thing if I came to you and say, Desiree, I'm considering doing this renovation loan. What would like be the one thing that you say to me that I need to be aware of and just be conscious of?
Oh gosh, I think it's level setting expectations as far as timeline, right? This is not going to be a loan that we're going to have and it's going to close in 30 days, right? That's the first thing. So, managing expectations, managing the schedule, if it is a purchase, making sure that it's level set between the seller and the buyer and everyone understands how long the potential for this to take and close is. Maybe a little easier for a refinance customer because they're not necessarily probably don't need to move out, but they still need to balance expectations on the loan to close and then renovations are going to start, right? It's not going to be an immediate process.
Right. You mentioned schedule just now. What's that
Mhm.
mean?
Well, schedule. So, we manage a lot of the mortgage processes, managing schedules against contract, especially when you're purchasing. And then managing a schedule for refinances. We have dates we have to meet. It's the same process, but it just a little bit larger scale. So there's going to be a lot more cooks in the kitchen when it comes to renovation loans. These have now instead of just your say if it is a purchase, you've got your seller and your buyer, and you've got real estate agents. Now you've got the lender who's much more involved in the process. So there's a lot more expectations on things getting delivered. Now you're going to have to bring in a contractor. The contractor is going to be involved in a lot more emails, paperwork, permits, and all that process is going to be dumped into the mix as well. And depending on what renovation loan program you decide to go with, there could also be what's called a HUD consultant will be involved too if you do decide to go with an FHA 203K option. So again, a lot more cooks in the kitchen, a lot more paperwork, lots more communication. But I don't say that in a way to steer people away, just more of level setting expectations.
Right, right. No, and I think that's fair to know. We get that a lot. We get praise for that communicating with everyone. So that's the one thing that I would kind of piggyback off to talk to is just say, hey, you need to understand what the process is all about because it's really basically
Mhm.
about the process. It's not much different like on how you qualify. We're still looking at income, assets, and
Right.
credit, but it's the point of moving you from A to Z to get there. There's like you mentioned, there's so many cooks in the kitchen. The biggest thing that I noticed is or sort of a challenge is getting the contractor um uh
Mhm.
engaged and on point because it to them, they're just like, we gave you a quote, you agreed to it. Now you're asking us for this additional documentation. So I got to
Right.
fill out these forms now and do a second sort of proposal to give it to you. And you're making
Yes.
my life hard and you're giving me too much work to do. But we can't really get started right without the contractor bid because that's required to get started and also to give to the appraiser. Is that right? So that the appraiser
Correct.
understands.
For your inspection, well, again, HUD consultant would do the inspection process and the appraiser. They would do that on an FHA. But again, the appraiser cannot start the process until that's done. And that, as everyone knows right now, sometimes can be the longest part of the process is getting an appraiser out, scheduled, and getting that report back. So I think I'm working currently in the initial stages of getting another renovation loan started. And the first thing from application when I'm level setting expectations is Do you have a contractor? Have you started the process? Have they been out to see the property? And another thing I want to make sure people understand with these is you don't get to go hire your cousin and your uncle that have experience building, from 10 years ago to come renovate the house. This has to be a licensed and bonded contractor in your state to come do this work. So that's one other item. And the lender is going to vet them. They're going to want to see that paperwork. They're going to want to make sure that the insurance is going to cover them for enough of what they minimum requirement is. So I do make sure to talk through that and get them in the process as early as humanly possible, because not only, again, am I going to need a contractor's bid when I submit, once we actually push this through to the lender, you're right. Then there's a second requirement. It's basically another bid all over again, but they want it in exact detail because those renovations, they have to be approved. And it's a little bit of a different process with that FHA. The HUD consultant is the one that approves it. They have to make sure that it falls within guidelines. They're not going to let you buy flowers in a flower pot for the outside for small landscaping items. That's not going to get approved. You don't get to go out and build a sauna on your house. I would love that. But the small luxury items with that 203K are not going to get approved. So they go through it and then they make sure that those items are going to actually get pushed through, and it is something that's approved before the appraiser can go out and do their job.
Got it. And so there's two types of there are a couple different types of which is two, but renovation loan. So we can do one with FHA and conventional, right? So the conventional will be the home style renovation loan. I think Freddie has one too as well, but the one that's most popular on the conventional side would be the home style. So one that we just recently did was an FHA 203K, in which they were purchasing a 4-unit, which was really cool, because the reason that they did the FHA 203K is because they were going to live in one of the units, and then they renovated the rest of the property to cover the other 3 tenants that lived there. And so the reason they had really good credit, and their ratios were really low, like in regards to their debt to income ratio, so they fit in any type of loan. But it was more beneficial to them because there was a lower down payment by doing it that way. So if it's owner occupied, and it's like a multifamily property, then you might want to look into FHA, because with the conventional loan, it requires more money to get in, right? The barrier of entry is a little higher.
Yeah, if you do a duplex would be 15% down payment, and then a triplex or that 4-unit would be 25.
25
conventional. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So we had this borrower who was able to buy that. Instead of putting 25% down, he did 3.5. So it was a fantastic option.
Yeah. And then the other thing too is they look at the as is value. So what's the house worth now? And then taking into consideration everything you talked about with the contractors, the consultants and such, coming up with an amount based on your wish list and the repairs that are required. Then they're going to give you an after repair value. Is that right?
Correct.
Got it.
And that's what the loan is based on, is the after repair value.
Got you. What else? Let's talk more about it. Like,
what else? I think when we do have these borrowers that come to the table specifically on refinances, is what's going to be more beneficial to me: cash out the equity I have, or do a renovation loan? And there is a ton of equity in most people's houses right now, depending on how long they've been in it. But one of the, that also in the last 2-3 years, the cost of renovation has also skyrocketed. So somebody who wants to redo a kitchen renovation now is anywhere from $45,000 to $75,000. I was just reading statistics on this. So, most people aren't just want the kitchen. They want, I want the kitchen. I want to redo the floors. Oh, and by the way, the hall bathroom, the plumbing is off and we have a leak, so we might as well do that as well. Well, there's that could be $120,000 right there. So depending on how much equity you have in there, you may not be able to get cash out of your house for $120,000.
Right.
So with a renovation loan, it gives you the opportunity to, again, it's not where it's at right now. It's the appraised value based off of those projected renovations. That's how it's valued. Then you get more money, right? So it can do all the projects that you want to do versus maybe just doing cash out and only having $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 to do renovations. So I think I think this is probably overlooked a lot in refinances. And I encourage everybody, talk to your mortgage professional, see what the numbers look like, because this might be a fantastic option for those thinking about it. And then also you're getting the benefit of having that appraisal, and now your home value just went up.
Right. The reason I started off with that pool story was based on, you remember we had the call the other day, and the one account executive mentioned that they had an entire division dedicated towards reaching out to pool companies. And I just it didn't dawn on me until I just, like, right after that, I started to have more of a conversation about this, and I'm like, he is absolutely right, because I'm going through this right now with this particular client, and
it all starts with the pool.
Yeah, it's gonna cost her. She thought it was gonna cost like $80,000, but by the time the pool guy left, it was $150,000 to restore this
Oh
pool.
my gosh.
Yeah, and she's got small kids, so there's a cover that has to go on it, and it's like a
Those
retractable
are
cover.
not cheap, right?
Yeah, it's hard so that, if someone walks on it, they won't, fall in. It won't break. And so,
Yeah.
like, her budget, like, just kind of skyrocketed, just based on this
Got
pool.
it.
It just really didn't dawn on me until we started to have more and more of those conversations. And so, like, I can see in areas where, pools are prevalent, or if someone wants to add those types of amenities to their home, this would be a good loan for them. One of the other things, that I like to talk about too, is like, what are you seeing on the buyer side, like in regards to competition? Can a loan like this help someone really compete in this market right now, you think?
Well, so here's also, I guess, a shameless plug. I was just thinking about how we were having the conversation about pools. The other opportunity here is there are, we did like a quick search on this call, and there's a decent amount of houses just in PG County, Maryland, that had houses that were still in the market for 4+ months. And initially I was like, there's no way. There's no way. Like, then this must be new builds, right? And they're not completed yet. But no, actually, they're just homes that are in probably very high need of repairs. Maybe not inhabited for a while. This is a fantastic option. Hi, real estate agents, call us. This is a great marketing opportunity. If you have a listing and it is not moving because it's not inhabitable, this is a fantastic option to present to people who are coming to look at this house, a renovation loan. So this could make you competitive in that way where, you might be, the house might be listed for 350,000 and you're approved for that, or you're approved for more, but you can't get into the other houses. And now here's this opportunity. You've got buffer. Well, there's 150,000 in renovation costs. We can probably make those numbers work for you. So as far as the competitiveness with this loan, I would say just be, again, for transparency purposes, I'm seeing these loans mostly close in about 60 days. If your ducks are in a row and you got a really strong contractor and he's going out to listings with you and he's giving you quotes before you're putting in offers and you guys are ready to go, maybe we could get it done faster. But I would say 60 days. So this market is crazy. And so that might not be as appealing for closing. But, you also do have sellers who are waiting to find houses and they might not have something yet. So they're okay with waiting 60 days for close because they know that they've got an offer on the table. So I guess there's 2 ways to look at that.
Got it. Most people I see are very anxious, at least on the real side, to to sell a house in 30 days. Like, can you close in 30? Like
Oh yeah.
in 2 weeks. We see that quite a bit, and I understand why, because it is competitive when you put someone that's got a 60-day close against someone with a 30-day close. It makes sense
Yeah.
because you're gonna get your seller the money faster. But like you mentioned, that was a good point. Realtors, buyers, think about those homes that have been sitting for a long time. So if you're a listing
Mhm.
agent, you have a property that's been you haven't been able to sell, that's been sitting on the market for a while, uh, and it needs some work, then you should get with your lenders and market some sort of a renovation loan, maybe, right? Market that.
Yeah.
Uh, Buyers that are having trouble competing in the market for turnkey houses,
Right.
maybe start to look at these types of properties that have been sitting on the market for a while and figure out, like, hey, listen, I may be able to get my dream house that I wanted that could be eventually turnkey, but I'll just have to put a little bit more work in it. And chances are, like you mentioned earlier, if you buy it for a lower price, but you're still qualified for higher, we can fit your renovation into that entire budget to kind of
Mhm.
get where you want it to be anyway, while you're out,
Yeah.
kind of pulling your hair out, competing against everyone else. So
Right.
that's a really good point. So, yeah, look at homes that have been on the market for a while. That's a really good point. Thanks for that.
Yeah. Mhm. One
All
other
right.
thing too is you can, with, all of these, with the exception of the FHA 203K limited program, you can roll in up to 6 months mortgage payments. Obviously, these renovations are gonna take some time. If you can't live in the house while the renovations are happening, that's an option for you too, because most people can't, you know, cover the rent that they're currently having plus the new mortgage payment. So, also something to think about.
Got it. And I should have covered this before, but you did such a great job, and I didn't want to interrupt you. But like your background is in logistics, right? Supply chain, and
My first life, yeah.
and you're trying to move these containers from one place to the next, and I, this right here is, wouldn't you say, kind of like the process to get from point A to Z, like similar?
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah,
It's the
is
logistics of mortgage, right?
yeah. Yeah, and so you're the supply chain of the mortgage industry. So
Oh,
um
man, I gotta patent that.
yeah, so tell us though how your background has benefited you with level setting and kind of keeping a cool head when going through this, because lots of times people don't really understand, like they say, and they think they understand before you get started. But
Mhm.
once we get in the process, it's like, oh, okay, I forgot about everything we talked about before because I'm really anxious, and don't still understand the process. So, like, how has your background helped with the renovation loans that you've been doing?
Oh gosh. I think it's helped tremendously. When it's the container analogy is always the easiest, right? You've got a high value container moving from, Germany to the US, and level setting expectations on what does that really look like. And people don't realize that the container just doesn't just magically get on the ship and then magically gets at their doorstep, right? There's so many things that happen, and that can either get delayed, go wrong, change the way it gets there. Lots of different, plan A, plan B, plan C, and we're constantly having to be ready for all of those changes. So I think I would say, with this particular program, has helped me a lot because I can see things and the chain of events that need to happen for the next stage to happen because I'm used to that already. So if this doesn't happen, if your truck doesn't show up on time to pick the container up and you miss the in-gate time at the steamship line to, get the container on the ship, guess what? You get to wait for the next ship. So
Mm,
it's the same thing. It's kind of that I have that same process. It makes sense to me. Whereas others are like, well, it didn't happen right now, but I got it to you. So can you still do it today? Just doesn't always work that way. It's like, no, now since we didn't make that cutoff, we've got to wait. Or, okay, well, we didn't get this. We couldn't order the appraisal. Well, now we're on a Friday. Now it's not going to get there, get ordered till Monday. And now it might not get picked up till Tuesday. So we actually just lost 5 days. That
right.
makes sense to me in my mind, where sometimes with our borrowers or real estate agents, this doesn't it doesn't, it's not, they don't live in it every day. So I try to keep a level, help everyone stay kind of level set on this and make sure that I'm explaining it the best I can up front.
Thank you for that. Thank you. So listen, what can we help you with? What do you need out there? This is your opportunity. Tell the world
Oh
how we
my
can help.
gosh. How can you help? I mean, I honestly, I really do love working with first-time home buyers. Like I just explained, I love explaining the process. I love to make that, it's really scary when you're a first-time home buyer, and I like to make that a little bit more comfortable and a little less scary for those folks out there who are out looking. So, I think just I like being a resource. So, being able to connect and network with those who need to have a little bit more, of the process explained. I would love to be able to be a resource for those individuals. And now, obviously, like I said, I was a shameless plug. Those real estate agents who want to market renovation loans on a property listing, give me a call. I can help set you up.
And how do we connect with you?
You can connect with me, Desiree at fortismortgage.com. And then I'll put my LinkedIn page. I'll put it in the chat notes here.
Okay, Desiree at fortismortgage.com. No,
Easy
thanks.
enough.
Thank you for that. This is it's been a great conversation. You've come a long ways. You have, and so we're proud of you, and just very excited about what the future holds for you. Just keep crushing it.
Thank you. This is my second time on the live stream now. So I was thinking about it as we were coming live that I want it to be like SNL, Saturday Night Live. Every time a host is on a certain amount of times, I think they're up, the highest is at 5 or something, they get like a jacket. So I'm going to get to 5 live streams, and I'm expecting you to send me a number 5 jacket.
All right, we'll do that. We got you covered. So the first time you didn't exist. No, we're not counting that first time.
Oh,
Even though,
okay. All right. So this,
yeah,
okay, this is the real first. Got it.
this is the real first time. This is the first time. So yeah, everybody, okay, hang on. Let me put this up here for you. Connect with Desiree at fortismortgage.com. It also has your LinkedIn information up there too as well. So Desiree, you get one person, one question. Who would it be? What would you ask?
All right, I have to steal this from you earlier, and it was a previous guest on the live stream because I think it is so hilarious, and I would honestly love to be able to ask my dog a question. I know it's crazy, but we work from home now. I have been with her for 2 years now, every single day. So I would like to ask
Hang on,
her.
let me interrupt though. Tell us who your dog is though. Your dog's
Oh, Lola is no, well, first she makes guest appearances every now and again on the Fortis site. She's the mortgage mastiff. Lola, she's an English mastiff. She's about 170 pounds. She is incredibly lovable, probably one of the laziest dogs there is. She's the sweetest thing. She is scared of her own shadow, but I swear to you, the second that dog is outside within our confines of our gates, she thinks she is like the Rock Johnson. So if it is UPS, FedEx, the mailman, doesn't matter. She does not discriminate. She will bark. So I'd like to understand what is going on. She is docile. She doesn't do anything. She's scared of everything. Why are you barking at these people? I don't get it. They serve no threat to you.
So you'd ask Lola why is she barking at everybody?
Why are you barking at the delivery people? Yeah.
She's big. I don't care if she's scared or not. I'm scared of her. That's huge.
Yeah. She's great.
That's awesome. So yeah, thanks again, Desiree. So love having you on here. As I tell everybody every week, it'd be such a shame to have these relationships and this network and not be able to share it amongst each other. So if there's anything that I or we can do to help you in any way, please don't hesitate to reach out. We'd love to do so. Please remain as safe and as healthy as you possibly can. And we'll see everybody next week. Thanks again, Desiree.
Thank you.